and welcome to your practice. My name is Janine. Thank you so much for being here today. Today's practice is going to be based around making space for all parts of ourselves, all of our ever-changing emotions, not just leaving room for the comfortable or the feel-good sunny day feelings, but to also leave room for the discomfort, for the slow days, for the gloomy or our rainy interiors. Because like a rainy day, we often retreat inside. We have a tendency to go inside. So maybe this can be a metaphor for looking inside ourselves when we feel this gloom or this slow, heavy day happening, and to be there for ourselves with an openness, with a tenderness, with availability. So oftentimes we feel like these human bodies that we inhabit, they're only meant to feel the good or the happiness or the joy. But really, isn't it a miraculous thing how broad of a spectrum our emotions go, how many emotions we truly do have, and to sit with them all and to embody them all is really quite special. You know, to feel it all is really quite special. So making time and space for those down days, that the feelings of grief and loss and sadness, and to really sit with them, not just push them under the rug or cover them up or just really wish they weren't there, but to really sit with them and to be with them, to embody those emotions and to feel them. Then slowly, so slowly, they can begin to pass. Because if we don't sit with them and we do cover them up, they don't just go away. They stay within ourselves, within our tissues, within our fascia, within our emotional bodies. And then they come up in other uncomfortable ways, such as tension or ailments or skin irritations in the body. And these are like literal signs that our body is giving us, that it's saying, hey, there's something that needs to change here. There's something that needs to process. So all of our emotions are welcome, as grief and loss stand by light and joy. And I invite you to tend to your rainy interiors with a warm acceptance from yourself, from ourselves. So whether you're feeling today joyful or maybe it's a heavy day, just make room for it. So before we get into our movement practice today, I would like to invite in a mudra, which we will use throughout our practice. So you may have seen this mudra oftentimes in meditation. This is Gyan Mudra. So Gyan Mudra is the mudra of knowledge, of expansion, of the union of self, of the connecting of all things. So Gyan Mudra is our thumb and our pointer finger together, and our other three fingers are stretched out long. So on either hand, maybe you've seen it with the backs of the hands rested on the knees. So we're going to intertwine this mudra throughout our practice today. So I'll invite us to start here. So find your mudra and get yourself in a comfortable seat if you are not already. Sitting up tall, growing long in the spine, just relaxing your shoulders back behind you. And let's just take a minute here to check in with ourselves. So how are you feeling today? Where are your emotions at? What version of you is showing up to practice today? Maybe your eyelids are heavy or your eyes are closed here. But just take a minute to go inward as you begin to breathe consciously. So mudras can be very helpful in times of meditation for mental strength and concentration. It gives us something to focus on, gives us a symbolization to relate to. So how are you today? And just check in with yourself in a non-judgmental way, if you can. Because again, all parts of us are welcome here. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and letting it go on your exhale. You can begin to blink your eyes open, and we'll get into our movement practice now. So go ahead and roll forward onto your hands and knees, setting yourself up in a tabletop, finding your foundation here, bringing your shoulders about over your wrists and your hips about over your knees. Let's just take 2 rounds of cat and cow. So inhale as you drop your belly, gaze looks up, and exhale as you round your spine, bringing your chin to your chest. One more time like that, inhaling forward, and exhale, round. Coming to a neutral spine from here. Let's kick our left leg out to our side, left hand side, finding a nice flat footing, bringing your foot in line with your knee, so you're creating a nice long line here. And let's just get into a couple cat and cows from here. So drop that belly on your inhale and exhale, round the spine. So see how this changes things. We're getting some nice length in the hamstrings here. Try to push into the outside edge of your foot and just move through cat and cow at your own pace here. Moving through a few rounds. Inhaling as you look up and exhaling as you round forward. Your movements can be as big or as small as your body feels like it needs today. One more round. Find yourself with a neutral spine and begin to walk your hands towards you as you lift your torso up. From here, bring your hands towards your hips, and we're going to slide our left hand down our left leg as we reach our right arm up and overhead, getting into a nice side body stretch here on the right hand side. So try not to dump all your weight onto your extended leg here, but just use that as a little bit of a prop to give you stability to lift up. Relax your shoulders so they're not coming up towards your ears. Taking another round of breath here, in through the nose, out through the nose or the mouth. Inhale as you come up to center, reaching tall with that right arm. And we'll exhale as we bring our right arm to our opposite side, our right hand side, as we reach our left arm up and overhead. So coming into a counter stretch on our left side now here. So this is a supported side plank. You can reach your arm up and overhead, or you can keep your arm nice and long. Maybe your gaze follows, but be mindful with the neck here. Taking 2 rounds of breath, in and out of the nose. Again, try not to dump all your weight into this hand, this right hand that's planted on the ground, but just use that as force to push you up. All right, on your inhale, let's reach with our left hand all the way up, bringing our torso tall, and we'll exhale as we bring our hands out in front of us, back on the mat, kicking your left foot back behind you, bending at the knee here. And we're just going to begin to open up our hips. So opening it up in a little circular motion. Let's do this a few times. So bringing your knee up high and then out to the side and around to the elbow. Try not to let your right hip dip too far over to the right. Try to keep yourself nice and stable and in line here with your hands. So one more circle wherever you are. And you can release, coming back into your tabletop from here. Let's get into that cat and cow, 2 rounds, just with a neutral, traditional way. And when you're ready, you can step your right leg out long beside you, creating a nice long leg, pushing equally into all 4 corners of your foot here, and coming into your cat and cow once again with this extended leg. See how this feels compared to the other side. We are not symmetrical, so it is very common to feel completely or even slightly different on either side of our bodies. So just observe that. So moving between cat and cow at your own pace. Staying active in the leg. One more round. And coming back to neutral spine, let's walk those hands back up towards us as we lift our torso up, sliding your right hand all the way down your left leg or your right leg as you reach with your left arm up and overhead. Think about tucking your pelvis here so you're also not dipping into your lower back and creating this big arch. So tuck your tailbone in, tuck your pelvis. Use that hand as stability to lift and open you up. Taking 3 rounds of breath here. And using that left arm to pull you up, setting it to the opposite side, your left hand side to the ground, and open your right arm up towards the sky, coming into your supported side plank. Maybe your hand reaches overhead, or maybe you keep your arm nice and long, creating a nice long line. Breathing here. It is quite windy out here today. Hopefully you can't hear the wind too much, but I'm sure you can see all of the leaves blowing around. All right, pulling yourself up, and we'll bring our hands in front of us onto the mat, kicking your right leg back behind you, bending at the knee, and we'll come into those hip circles on the right-hand side. So circling your knee out and around, just getting some nice mobility, some movement in our hips. Okay, you can place your knee now to the mat, coming into your tabletop. One more round of that traditional cat and cow. Inhale as you come forward, and exhale as you round back. From here, let's tuck our toes and push ourselves back into our downward facing dog. Take a couple rounds of breath here just to walk out your dog, pedaling your feet, creating a nice long line from your head all the way to your hips. And you can slowly begin to walk your hands towards your feet. So you're in a forward fold at the very back of the mat. Just taking 2 rounds of breath here in your fold, finding length in your hamstrings and your back line. Maybe rocking side to side. When you're ready, you can begin to roll yourself up to standing. All right, so we're right at the back of the mat here. We're going to come into a little bit of balancing poses as we move towards the top of the mat. So from here, take a small step forward with your right foot. We're going to lift up our left knee, catching it with our hand and hugging it in. So coming into our first balancing pose here, just testing the waters, see how your balance is, your stability is today. I'm feeling a little shaky, but we're gonna go with it. Taking a full round of breath here, grow your spine nice and tall, drop those shoulders back behind you. And on your next inhale, let's release, bringing our foot back behind us and grabbing onto our ankle. So we're coming into a quad stretch here. So coming into that Gyan Mudra, we're gonna find connection here with our fingertip and our thumb, and opening the palm nice and shining it forward. So think about tucking your tailbone here again in your pelvis as you pull your ankle towards your bum, getting a nice big quad stretch. So keeping your chest nice and open and your spine nice and tall here. Breathing. Take one more round of breath. And release. Right away, stepping forward 1 step with your left foot now, and lifting your right leg up, catching onto your knee and pulling that in towards you. Feeling how this feels on the other side now. How is your balance today? How are you feeling today? Couple rounds of breath. You can always look out at a point in the distance that is not moving, and that will help for your stability. This is called a dristi. You can release that now, grabbing right away onto your right ankle and pulling that back behind you, inviting in that Gyan Mudra once again. Such a beautiful symbolization of connecting all parts of the universe within us. All the elements. Helps to not feel so separate from the natural world and the cycle of all things, as we are a part of it all. Breathing in, breathing out, and releasing right away. Let's step one more step forward with that right foot. You're gonna lift your left foot back up just like we did before, hugging into the knee. From here this time, grabbing on with your right hand here, we're gonna begin to peel and open up the chest, coming into a twist. So coming into Gyan Mudra as well, giving yourself a bunch of different points of contact here with our right hand, with our mudra, and maybe your gaze follows to the back of the mat towards your extended arm. Embrace your wiggles and shakes. If you fall out, that's all good. Just come right back into it, following your breath. Oh, all right, let's bring it back to center, hugging your knee in and placing it down. Let's step forward with that left foot. Right away, lifting up the right knee, hugging it in, and you know where we're going, so opening up in a twist on the right hand side, grabbing on with your left arm for stability as you begin to peel and open up the chest, looking over your right shoulder if that feels good, coming into that Gyan Mudra, noticing all points of contact here. Embracing all your wiggles, finding stability in the shakes. And release, bringing it forward. Releasing that foot to meet your other and shaking it out here. Whew. A good little balancing exercise. I'm feeling extra shaky. Maybe it's the wind. All right, let's find a little flow vinyasa here. So pairing your movement with your breath. We'll inhale as we reach our hands up towards the sky. Palms touch in that upward salute. And exhale as you dive forward, hinging at the hips, leading with the heart, finding yourself in a forward fold. Taking a couple rounds of breath once again here, maybe shaking out the head. Always coming back to your breath. On your next inhale, let's lift up into a halfway lift. So we're just going to stay here for a few rounds of breath. I just want to articulate the importance of this movement, this asana. So this is often used in a transition throughout a flow, but it's just as important as any other asana. So let's find activation here. So think about hugging your belly in towards your spine, rolling your shoulders back, opening up the chest. Maybe your hands are on your shins, or maybe they're on the earth if you're feeling really flexy. And your neck does not want to be looking up. We don't want to curve in the neck here. You don't want to be looking right down at your toes either, but it's about important to look a couple inches in front of your mat to grow a nice long neck, so you have a nice long line of energy from the crown of your head all the way to your hips. So breathing here, exhale as you fold. Coming into that halfway lift one more time, breathing in, and exhale, fold. Plant your hands, and we're gonna walk it back into our downward facing dog. Pedaling it out. Think about energetically pulling your your elbows towards each other, relaxing your head here. You can have as big of a bend in your knees as you need to. And on your exhale, begin to walk your hands back towards your feet into your forward fold at the back of the mat. We're gonna roll up to standing, finding Tadasana here, maybe inviting in Gyan Mudra here one more time. So we're gonna come into another balancing pose. Let's step forward with that right foot, hugging our left knee in towards our chest. Right away, kicking it back behind you, holding on to your ankle. So come into your Gyan Mudra here. Maybe you want to stay right here, and this is enough. If you're feeling like you want to come into a deeper balancing pose, we're going to get into dancer's pose from here. So kick into your hand as much as your hand pulls into your foot as you begin to hinge yourself forward, lifting the knee, opening up the chest, maybe reaching your hand out nice and long. And breathing here, finding stability in that right foot, a little micro bend. Couple rounds of breath wherever you are. And releasing, bringing it back up, releasing that foot, and shake it out for a second here. Let's inhale our hands up towards the sky. And exhale, heart center. Let's step it forward with our right foot, kicking our left foot up towards, the other side this time. Step forward with your left foot, or if you've done the opposite, then just do the other one you haven't done yet. Lift that right leg up towards the sky. Hug it in towards your chest. Kicking your foot back behind you, grabbing onto that ankle, finding your mudra. Staying here if this feels good, playing with your balance. Or if you would like to come into a deeper variation, find your dancer's pose. Hinge forward while keeping your chest nice and open. Bring your hand out in front of you. Kick your knee up. Find equal opposition in your foot and your hand. So you're pushing equally with both parts. Look at something that's not moving. Super windy here today, so everything's moving. One more breath. And release. And shake it out. Let's come into one more little Vinny flow. Inhale your hands up towards the sky. Exhale, hinge at the hips, diving forward into your fold. Inhale into your halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step your feet back into your downward facing dog. Take a couple full rounds of breath here. Maybe on your exhale, you let something go. Just checking in once again with your emotions. How are you feeling? Has anything shifted? Super normal for all your emotions to shift throughout the day, every other minute, every other hour. All right, drop your knees, keep your toes tucked. We're gonna walk our hands up towards our knees and just come into a little toe squat here for just a couple moments. So bring your big toes to touch. Maybe take your pinky toes so they are also tucked under. And let's just take a couple rounds of breath here to really open up the lines in the feet. On your exhale, let's sigh or hum. Let's do that again. Inhale through the nose, exhale on a sigh or a hum. Helps to relax our nervous system. And let's come forward onto our hands. Just tap the toes out. Sit back onto the heels, crossing your legs. And let's bring it down. We're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So bringing both your legs out nice and long. Finding a spot that is comfortable for you, that you feel sensation but not discomfort, or nothing that's too intense where you can't stay a while. We're going to be here for a bit. So think about flexing your feet and externally rotating your hips and your legs so everything is coming outwards. So plant your hands in front of you, grow nice and tall. And on your exhale, begin to walk forward, finding a little bit of a fold wherever you're at. Keeping a nice little micro bend in the knees here as well. And on your next inhale, let's walk it back up. Placing your left hand on the inside of your left leg. Let's reach our right hand up and overhead, finding a bit of a side body stretch here. If you feel like bringing in your Mudra, then please do. Following your breath in through the nose, out through the nose or the mouth. Let's lift it back up to center, bringing your hand back in front of you. Let's turn our torso now so it's facing our extended leg. Bringing your right hand on the outer edge of your left leg. Just begin to fold here. Finding a little bit more of a twist into our fold here. If this doesn't feel good and you're like, this is super weird, you don't have to cross your hand. You can just keep it so one hand is on either side of your leg here. And just fold forward. Couple rounds of breath. And begin to walk yourself up. We'll come back to center, placing your right hand now on the inside of your right leg. reach your left arm up and overhead. Gaze follows. Relaxing your shoulder blade, maybe leaning back slightly, keeping a nice open chest here. And breathing. Never forget about your breath. If you're feeling like you can't breathe, then maybe you've taken it too far and you just want to come out of that pose just a little. Be true to yourself, listen to yourself. What do you need? Bring it back up to center, this time bringing your torso to face your extended right leg, maybe crossing your left arm on the outer edge of that leg and folding down, or just keeping both hands on either side of your extended leg. Taking a few rounds of breath here on this side, again noticing the difference. And on your next inhale, let's begin to roll up, coming back to center. And let's just help our legs out here by finding support, grabbing onto the backs of the knees to begin to bend your knees, lifting it up and bringing it back to center. Maybe you just want to rock it out with a little bit of a windshield wiper motion here for a second before we begin to slowly find ourselves onto our backs. So maybe hugging your hands into your knees, growing tall, and slowly beginning to round down. Finding yourself onto your back here. Let's hug those knees into the chest, rocking side to side. Just giving that lower back a little massage, beginning to slow things down. We did a lot of standing poses and balancing poses. So let's give a little love to our back line and our hamstrings. So keeping your right knee in towards your chest, let's extend that left leg nice and long. Just hugging your knee in towards your armpit, maybe rocking it side to side here. And when you're ready, let's extend that right leg nice and long up towards the sky, grabbing onto the backs of the thigh or the calf, and just beginning to pull that leg in towards you. Maybe flexing and pointing the toe here, but just getting a nice hamstring stretch, getting a nice stretch in the tops of the feet by pointing and flexing. And try to make sure that your upper back, your shoulder blades are relaxed onto the mat, that you're not using too much upper body strength here. We want the stretch to be prominently only in the leg. So take a couple rounds of breath here. And you can release, bending that knee, placing it on the mat, and we'll hug our left knee in towards the chest. Now extending our right leg long towards the end of the mat. Begin to rock your knee side to side, bringing your knee in towards your armpit, seeing how that feels. Just kind of moving things intuitively that feel good to you and your hips right now. And when you're ready, you can begin to lengthen your left leg up towards the sky, grabbing onto the backs of the thigh, the calf, or maybe you're really flexible and you're grabbing onto your foot. But just find a spot that doesn't feel like too much effort so you can relax your back onto the mat and pull your leg towards your chest. Maybe flexing and pointing that left foot. One more round of breath. And release. I can hear an ice cream truck music sound in the background. I don't know if you can pick that up, but there's ice cream somewhere. And on that note, let's extend our legs nice and long, setting ourselves up for our final resting pose, Shavasana. So grow nice and big here, take up space. Maybe your arms are extended out long. Maybe your hands are finding somewhere on the body that feels good. Let your feet just splay open. Maybe just scoop your shoulders underneath you so that you can grow tall in the spine. Just get yourself cozy, take a minute to find and make any adjustments that you need to so that you can stay still here for a couple minutes. So your body can integrate all of the work that it just did. So it's always good to take a couple minutes in meditation or Shavasana after a movement practice. Our movement practices are a movement meditation as well, but we don't want to rush off to the next thing. Let our body absorb all of the work that you just did. So let's take a deep breath in through the mouth or the nose and out through the mouth. Sigh it out, let something go. Allow your body to feel heavy and melt into the earth here. So may we allow for all the experiences in this human vessel to be welcomed with open and accepting, nurturing arms. May we tend to our rainy interiors. May we make space for all parts of us. And to know that the difficult parts are often when we have the most growth and we learn the most about ourselves. So welcome those parts. You can begin to deepen your breath, bringing yourself back into the space. If you feel called to stay in Shavasana for longer, then I encourage you to do so. That is the beauty of online yoga. You can pause me and you can do this at your own pace. If you would like to close this practice together, then we'll begin to bend at the knees and roll over into a fetal position. taking a round of breath here and pushing yourself up into a seat, keeping your eyes closed down, staying inward. Bringing your hands to heart center, bowing your chin towards your chest. Now, may we make space for those internal rainy days, and may we tend to ourselves with gentle acceptance, asking ourselves what we need in this moment. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope this practice felt good in your body, and I hope it has opened up the feeling of accepting yourself in any form, in any emotion and way that you are, as you are always welcome to feel all the things. So thank you, and I hope to see you again